Interruptions during Memphis Mayor Paul Young's State of the City address Tuesday night are drawing reaction from city leaders and community organizers. Now, the group behind the protest, MICAH, says the action was deliberate and non-violent. Now, Mayor Young spoke about affordable housing goals, creating job opportunities, and crime trending down over the last 4 years, and the city exceeding their goal with a 40% reduction in just the last 2 years. He also spoke on the challenge of the city's declining population, having about 45,000 fewer residents than in 2020. However, his speech was constantly interrupted by protesters from MICAH, which stands for Memphis Interfaith Coalition and for Action and Hope. The president, Pastor Keith Caldwell, says the group sent letters to the mayor ahead of the event, but says they did not receive a response. The group says its concerns include immigration enforcement, labor rights, and what they call policies impacting vulnerable communities. I'll open it up to Susan here. So a lot of people attended this. This was at First Baptist Church Broad, packed house, trying to hear Mayor Young's message. Was it the right place and the right time for a protest?
Well, you always have to ask yourself when there's a protest, is it the right place? Is it the right time? It's never the right place. It's never the right time. But I really believe that protests are an essential part of our democracy and free speech. They interrupted the mayor. They were disruptive, but they were escorted out. There was no violence, and which I think was good on the behalf of the city and the protesters. But you know, the mayor was giving a positive speech for the most part, trying to explain some real difficulties, and I think that MICAH made a name for itself, but I'm still not quite sure what their goal and their mission is.
Who and what is MICAH for real? Where are their community bona fides? What gives you the authority to speak for the people you say you're speaking for? I do not agree, and until they get those community bona fides, until they put in the time and the years to deserve the respect of the people, then I can't give it to them. But as you say, it's everybody's right to protest.
Oh, you can say that about any protester.
You sure can. I mean, everybody's got a right to protest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't complain because a lot of people don't know who they are. I think the bigger issue here for me was that Mayor Young missed an opportunity during the speech to address head-on the Memphis Save Task Force and how he really feels about it. I know he has no choice in the matter, but he needed to address that and not ignore it. You can't just say I'm moving on when nobody's really moving on because they are still here, even though it's been peaceful here compared to what has happened in Minnesota. He needed to address it.
I wonder why he didn't.
Go ahead.
I wonder why he doesn't.
Well,
because he just does it anyway.
Well, because the main reason is because I think he feels that he's hamstrung here. He's getting edicts from the governor, from the president, and he doesn't have a choice here. It's either go along or you're going to lose something in the long run.
Well, why not make that the public pronouncement? Why not say that?
Well, I think he has kind of said that in the past, but he doesn't say it forcefully. That's not his personality.
No.
And he's not that forceful of a mayor, shall we say, or certainly not an aggressive mayor. So he didn't have a choice. I mean, in the executive branch of our government, we have a president, we have a governor, and we have a mayor. And when you are in a state where the president says we're sending in ICE and the governor says, come on, bring them on, the mayor really doesn't have much of a choice. But if you compare it to Illinois or Michigan, they have Democratic governors.
Yeah.
So how's a MICAH protest going to give the mayor any more power to do what they are
Well, but
calling for him
they
to
were
do?
exercising their rights to do that. And
That's what I'm saying.
Free
have a problem with
speech.
that.
Free
But you
speech.
you have to choose the time and the place to do that if it's going to have an effect.
When you allow yourself to be elected to public office, at a high public office, you're going to face these kind of protests, these kind of expressions. And what Paul Young did, basically, he tried to push back, but the law enforcement came in and took care of it for him.
Okay, well, we are running right up to time because you guys are so good at doing that, which is great. Always makes for lively conversation. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for watching. We hope you'll see us next week for ABC24 This Week.